Do you ever find yourself thinking, I know I should be making more money, and yet it just isn't showing up? In this video, I'll show you how to speed up your results, so stay tuned.
Well, hi there and welcome. My name is Remy, like Do-Re-Mi. I'm a best-selling author and creator of the Get Unstuck Revolution. I help extraordinary women with big-ass dreams just like you who want to get unstuck from a life that doesn't work and get to where you know you need to be, into a life that's filled with passions and purpose. Now let's get started with today's episode.
Okay, let me jump off the screen here and switch to my laptop. Today, we're talking about how to create big money and what to do when it just isn't showing up yet. There's a level of income you're trying to create, but the universe seems to be moving at a snail's pace, and you wonder whether you're putting blocks in your path or exactly what's happening, because you honestly couldn't work any harder or any more diligently. As business owners, or even in our quote-unquote real jobs, in our relationships at home or at work, we're sometimes trying to get a grip on our finances, and we can find ourselves wondering, I know I should be making more money, so can we make this go any faster? In this episode, we'll be talking about how a lack of revenue can be from a million different reasons, but we're going to zero in on the most effective way to change our revenue streams. We'll also be talking about the most predictable and magical way to increase our money and what to do when something means everything to you. Yes, we're talking about how to find your hidden power when you want to transform challenges into successes. I like to call this the audacity of alchemy. Because when you're feeling stuck, it's never the situation that has you stuck. It's your energy that's become stuck by the trigger of negative emotions that can come from past situations or events. In other words, it isn't the pain of the situation you're in. It's the pain of not being connected in the natural energy of who you really are, of being connected to that magical part of you that's a creative vibrational being who can use positive energies to create what you want and bring it into physical manifestation. Part of this process is to allow your manifestations to materialize and not get stuck in the negative vibrations that block them. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because when you can vaporize unwanted negative energies and reduce the conflicts that steal your positive energy flow, the possibilities for crystallizing the success you crave are endless. This series has little wisdom pearls that'll help you do just that. Because if you're like me, then you're someone who has the audacity, the willingness to take bold risks and transform challenges into success. So let's talk about this idea of transformation and the audacity of alchemy. A lack of revenue could be from a million reasons, from our marketing message to our advertising budget to the employees we engage, even market conditions like we experience from time to time throughout history. If we're freelancing for other companies, a lack of a strong income could be from economic conditions like election years or even foreign policy concerns, or it could come from something closer to home like mismanagement or a lack of vision of the company we work for. It could even come from being underqualified or overqualified as compared to other freelancers or competitors. So a lack of revenue can get down to a number of different reasons. What I'm about to share with you even applies to relationships. So we could be talking about the currency of revenue, but we could also be talking about the currency of love. It's a current. In other words, what we're really talking about is energy. And more specifically, we're talking about the energy underneath our situation. So we have this thought, I know I should be making more money, and yet it just isn't showing up. And when that happens, it can cause some frustration to surface. And if that happens, we can end up feeling deeply, painfully, and hopelessly stuck. You know, there have been times throughout my life where I've thought about how well things were going, but I looked at my bank account and it sure didn't seem to reflect that. Has that ever happened to you? And there have been other times where my bank account was overflowing and I felt like I had more money than I ever thought possible. So how do we find ourselves in these ups and downs? Why is it sometimes so easily and effortless to create big money, and other times it's like pulling teeth? Well, more often than not, it's because of resistance. There's really only one reason we don't have affluence, and that's because we're focused on lack. That's worth writing down, so I'll say it again. There's only one reason we don't have abundance and prosperity, and that's because we're focused on lack. Everything gets created energetically first, and then it comes into physical reality. So if we're thinking about what we don't have, that vibration of what we don't have creates our reality. I'll tell you when I first started thinking about this, I was working with a business coach who would create little visualizations for me. We'd go into session, talk about what I wanted to create, and we'd end with a 15-minute meditation or visualization. And in one session, I remember turning to him and saying, out of the blue, you know, making big money is what I do best, and to think anything else is absurd. It kind of shocked me how that literally just fell out of my mouth. I almost turned to look behind me as if to say, who just said that? But it was apparently one of my own inner truths because it fell out of my own mouth. And this one statement became one of my very prominent foundational beliefs. And anytime this business coach heard resistance coming out of my mouth in one of our sessions, he'd just laugh and say, whatever, making big money is what you do best. Anything else is absurd. And in the moment he'd say that, I'd straighten out my thinking. In other words, I'd stop looking at lack. I'd stop looking at what I didn't have yet in the way of revenue and big money. It turns out that the more I focused on prosperity thinking, the more prosperity would find its way to me. And if I started focusing on lack, it was almost as if the money faucet would turn off. I noticed that it was predictable and almost magical the way that worked. That's alchemy. So let's talk about money versus big money, because this is a place where I tripped up, and it continues to be a place where I see others getting tripped up as well. This idea of big money for me had such bigness on it that it created a vibrational barricade. The bigness of it was laden with resistance. I had become consumed in thoughts of the big revenue not showing up, and in being consumed by those thoughts, I was actually creating lack in my world. I wasn't creating an abundance of money, but I was definitely creating an abundance of resistance just by focusing on the bigness of it. How do we know we've become consumed by resistance? When we say things like, this is everything to me. The everythingness of it can sometimes create resistance. Now, here's another common mistake we make while we're talking about the everythingness of our desires. When our manifestation isn't showing up yet, and we say, I've tried everything, and no matter what, I can't seem to bring about change. That's another way that our everythingness offers the energy of frustration to the universe. It creates resistance. If we're going to make a vibrational offering to the universe, we want it to be a positive vibration, not a negative vibration like doubts or worries or frustration. Everythingness can often hold that vibration of negativity. And let's remember that the universe isn't personal. It simply responds to our vibration. We want to keep things on the positive side. So how do we honor the idea that something is everything to us without turning it into resistance? How do we hold on to the bigness of a goal but not create a vibrational barricade to receiving it? How do we let go of past experiences, especially spiritual injury or abuses around money? Well, step one is to stop monitoring it. Stop looking at what hasn't happened yet. Stop ruminating about it. Stop turning it over. Stop obsessing. If you put too much focus on it, constantly questioning it, that creates resistance. If it feels like a struggle or a challenge, then we're observing what we don't have yet, and that struggle invites resistance to the party. But we can transform these challenges into successes. The shift in our thinking is to add positive vibrations to our vision. We want to show some appreciation, some gratitude. We want to love on it and add joy to it. We want to think of this big goal with purpose and vibrancy, with inspiration and optimistic enthusiasm. The everythingness of our desires must have everything positive associated with it. It's our hidden power. So let's not think about revenue as a struggle. Let's change what we offer to the universe vibrationally. What are we going to put in the offering plate? It isn't struggle, but little coins of positive vibration that we want to put in the offering plate. Now, while we're talking about everythingness, let's also talk about the close cousins that we call beingness and doingness. The doingness, well, that would be the actions we take. That's the doingness. If we start with these actions before we lay the energy groundwork, well, we might get lucky with our desires, but we might not. So what we want to do is to do the energy work first before we take action steps, because we are vibrational beings in a vibrational universe. If we haven't yet manifested our big vision into physical form, then we want to take the everythingness off our desires, and we want to take the doingness off our desires too, and we want to back it up and put it all on pause and consider that this is a beingness issue. We want to remember we are vibrational beings, so this is a beingness issue. And as we stand here in our beingness, as we stand here centered in our vision of what we want to create, what feelings are we offering? What energy are we offering to the universe? Are we offering joy for all the possibilities? Or are we offering confusion, anxiety, sadness, frustration? Because any of these negative emotions are an indicator that we're in resistance. Negative emotions are always an indicator that we're in resistance. The good news is, when we realize we're in negativity, it's our signal. It's our signal to change that positive energy that comes so natural for us. We want to get the energy into positivity first so that we're helping our vision move forward toward manifestation. So it's being this first, and then doing this, and then having this. Most people have that just backwards. They think that when they have their desire, then they can do what they want, and then they can be their naturally optimistic selves and feeling good about life. That's backwards. It's being this first. We want to be centered in our spiritual center, offering a positive vibration. That comes first. We inherently have positive energy. It comes very natural for us. We know how to appreciate. We know how to express gratitude. We know curiosity and happiness and resilience. Can you remember the last time you played with a puppy or a kitten? These positive, playful energies, they naturally live inside us, and we can bring them out in a moment's notice. All we have to do is use those natural abilities when we think about our big vision. And then we look for ways to increase this positive energy. How do we expand our energy when we play with one kitten or when we have 6 kittens in our lap? Expanding our positive energy actually comes very naturally to us, and you've probably noticed how contagious it is. One positive thought or feeling can quickly turn into another and another. And when this happens, we're increasing our positive energy and we're expanding. And we can very easily apply this natural ability to our business, to our revenue. This is how we can get a better than expected outcome. But what trips us up is when we look at what we don't have yet. That's where we go all sideways. There's really no difference in where we are now and where we want to be. It's simply a matter of perspective. When our perspective is all about what's missing and what we don't have yet, we're sitting in an illusion that's actually asking us to step up to a higher perspective. When we center ourselves in beingness, when we're centered in this higher perspective, then we are more connected with source energy. And from there, we can ask for help in holding this space of positivity. And then we can hold hands with universal energies so that we're cooperating with this manifestation of our big vision. In that place where we're connected, we can stand in appreciation and marvel at what's being manifested for us. We can appreciate all the universal energies that are working in the background on our behalf. We're no longer looking at what we don't have, but we're looking at what's coming. We've done our job to create, and now it's the universe's job to manifest it for us. There's no need to watch the garden grow or micromanage the garden as it tries to grow. We can step back and allow our greatest desires to manifest. Allowing, that's a very big deal. It's a bigger deal than the big deal we're trying to manifest. Allowing is a huge part of this process and a much more powerful energy than obsessing about why something hasn't manifested yet. This is why it's so powerful to have gratitude for what is, right in this moment as we stand in our spiritual center. That's a powerful energy, gratitude. There's a path from where we are to where we want to be, and as we crystallize what we want to bring to fruition, as we take our first steps onto the path, our perspective can be how far away the destination seems, and we can think, if I was just already there, life would be so much easier. And what we don't realize is that this path from concept to fruition is a journey of vibration. Even perspective holds a vibration, either negative or positive. So we always want to be aware of the vibration that we're offering. A positive vibration creates velocity. Positive vibration is an accelerator. I remember when my own guides used to always add that phrase, with velocity, every time I spoke an affirmation. For the longest time, I didn't understand what they were trying to tell me. What I've come to understand is that positive vibration creates velocity. It's an accelerator to what you want to create. It speeds up the manifestation. So let's manage our energy. Creating something small or creating a really big vision is really the same thing to universal energies. The only difference is the vibration we put on it. How quickly it manifests is really a matter of whether our perspective is lack, in which case we're creating resistance and blocking it, or whether our perspective is open and allowing, in which case we're creating lots of positive energy around it so that it can find its way to manifestation. Showing up in the world with our very natural positive vibration takes away the resistance and brings our greatest desires directly to us with velocity. And that's how we create the revenue we want. Well, I hope this helps you as you're using the powers of alchemy to transform challenges into positive new successes. If you still can't get your head around what's got you stuck, you can tell me about it right here. You can leave a message, or if you're someone who has the audacity, the willingness to take bold risks to transform challenges into success, you can find out more about our events at successcircleworkshops.com. This is where you can learn more about the audacity of alchemy and how to unlock your hidden power. Make sure to subscribe to this channel, and if you liked what you learned today, be sure and give this video a thumbs up. You can also feel free to share this video with anyone you know who's feeling stuck. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you in one of our upcoming Success Circles. You can find out more at successcircleworkshops.com.